What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I am Sam Cardona, and thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Just want to apologize. I sound the way that I sound right now because I have a sinus infection. It is not COVID, just so everyone knows, but I am a little sickly, so I apologize. However, the NFL stops for nobody. The show must go on, so here we are. I'm very excited to get into this week's episode. We are going to be talking with Nicole and Ashley, also known as Touchdowns and Tight Ends on Instagram. I am so excited to talk to both of them. They are a Chargers fan and a 49ers fan. So we are going to get into NFL Week 7 with them. But before we do, as per usual, guys, don't forget to follow on all podcasting platforms, wherever it is that you get your podcast from. Please make sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, also The Girl Who Talks Sports. If you're watching on YouTube right now, give us a little bit of a thumbs up. That'd be super awesome. And also don't forget to follow us on social media, on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast, and on Instagram and TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. So, without further ado, I will not hesitate any longer. We'll hear a quick little word from an affiliate, and then we will get into our interview. Imagine it was possible that local fresh groceries could be delivered right to your front door. You would have so much free time, you could listen to more of The Girl Who Talks Sports. Instacart gives you unlimited grocery delivery for one low monthly fee. Better than what those other guys who nickel and dime you do whenever you use their app. Instacart can deliver to your front door in as little as 1 hour. You're not even tied down to one store. You can shop multiple stores, find deals in your area to save some money, and shoppers hand select your items based on your preferences. So don't worry, they'll keep your gentle items like your eggs safe too. To start your 14-day free trial, click the link in the show notes so Instacart knows that you were sent by me, the girl who talks sports. And this also helps to support our show. Instacart. Never step foot in a grocery store again. All right, everyone. Welcome back. I am so stoked for our guests for this week. I'm joined by Nicole Dorning and Ashley Collins from Touchdowns and Tight Ends Instagram. I'm sure many of you guys who follow me on Instagram know who they are. They are Chargers fans and 49ers fans, respectfully. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
Of course. So before we get into NFL Week 7, I kind of want to have a nice little intro session, kind of learn more about you guys. And the first thing that I want to know is, how do you guys know each other? Are you guys friends, or like, how'd you meet?
Nicole, you want to take that?
So we met in high school. It was Ashley's freshman year, my junior year. In water polo. So were you on the varsity team right away? Yeah. So on the same team. I mean, I didn't know her all that well, just through sports. And then during Christmas, we had this Secret Santa thing that our coach put together, and Ashley actually picked my name. And so through her gift giving, I just fell in love with her. Like, she was the most thoughtful and sweetest. Like, she knew so much about me, and I had no idea that she even paid attention to anything. And so we became best friends almost immediately after that, and have been best friends ever since.
That's so sweet.
And it's like so funny because I really don't think I have great gift giving skills, but Nicole remembers that story, and I'm like, man, I must have did real good when I was a freshman.
Do you remember what you bought her?
I'm pretty sure it was like a gummy bear scented like body spray or something.
That to this day is still my favorite scent. Like, if I ever smell anything close to it, it just, all the nostalgia comes back and it reminds me of that. But then I think the last gift you did, like, little best friend half heart necklaces. So you left one for me and then you were wearing the other.
And here we are like 20 plus years later.
That is awesome. I love that so much. That is so cute. So you guys are obviously West Coast, and you have two West Coast teams. So I'm curious, Ashley, I'll start with you. How did you guys each pick your respective teams? Because you guys are not the same on the same team here.
We're not. And we're in Southern California. So I think I probably should be like a Chargers, a Raiders, or a Rams fan, just because they were all in LA at some point in time.
Right.
But I'm not. I'm a 49ers fan, and I have been. So like, I didn't grow up in a football family. So it's definitely not like a team that was passed down to me. But growing up in the 90s, just the group that I hung out with, you were either a Cowboys fan or you are a 49ers fan. And like that was it. Like those were the only teams that you picked with who I was hanging out with in elementary school. And so like, I picked the 49ers. I can't even tell you why. I just picked the 49ers, probably because everybody else picked the Cowboys and I really like to go against the grain. And like, I'm pretty thankful that I picked the 49ers and not the Cowboys, not the Cowboys, but but so I picked the 49ers in like 6th grade and have been a 49ers fan ever since. So
that's awesome. Nicole, what about you?
So my story is quite different. My family, mostly my dad, was a diehard 49ers fan, Chargers fan, and we grew up in San Diego. So I grew up watching the Chargers with my dad, going to games when I was younger, and I kept following it. My dad passed away 11 years ago, so my brother and I have really held on to that for him and continue to be diehard fans.
Well, that's awesome. And I mean, you guys aren't in the same division, but both California teams. So it kind of works out that you guys can root with each other and all that kind of stuff. I forgot my Chargers hat today, and I'm very upset.
Justin Herbert.
He is just stealing my heart each and every day. I adore him so much. But I was gonna wear my Chargers hat, but I actually forgot it at my boyfriend's house. So unfortunately, I can't wear that today. But yeah, so that is really cool that you guys each have your own story about each of your teams. So obviously, you guys are both touchdowns and tight ends. That is your Instagram page, which is really fun, really exciting, and I'm so glad that I found you on Instagram because it's just like a really fun atmosphere. What made you guys start that page? Because everybody has their own way of how they end up social media and sports content creating and that kind of stuff.
Ashley, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously Nicole and I have like a love for sports. We met playing water polo, and we've always been into football. And over the past couple of years have gotten like really connected with our teams and just wanted to create like a space where we could talk about it and have fun doing it. And so I think for a couple of years, we were talking about trying to start like a podcast or something, right, within sports content creation. And finally, in the beginning of this year, we were like, we're going to do it. We're just going to do it. And we really just kind of wanted to create a space where we could talk about our teams. And it's hard. And maybe you could relate. We're not a fan page, but we're not, like we're still really truly trying to define who we are. But we really wanted a space where people feel comfortable coming to talk about sports, whether they know a lot about it or a little bit. Because like you'll hear us say all the time, we are not experts by any means. We are just really passionate about like our teams. And so trying to create a community where people feel comfortable no matter what level or what teams they like. Of course, our content is highly centered around the 49ers and the Chargers because that's our teams, but we still try to be connected to the other teams. Nicole, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think, there's so many women out there specifically who love their teams. They love the game of football, but they're intimidated to talk about it because I'm sure like the minute you start talking about football, you get quizzed on stats and like all these other things. And it's like, that's not what we're here. That's not why, we can love football, but we don't need to know everything, right? Like Ashley said, we're not experts. We're just super passionate. And a lot of the people that we do on a regular basis, they're not Charger or 49ers fans. There's a couple guys that we talk to that are huge Patriots fans and Raiders fans. And it's a platform for everyone.
That's awesome. And yeah, that's what brought me to your page, is that it's so inviting and it's like a really great atmosphere. And you're absolutely right. It's horrible when, you go out there and you're like, yeah, I really like football. And it's just like, well, what's the blood type of the nephew of the coach of the team? And you're like, what? Like, you guys don't even know that. Like, it's so annoying. So I love that perspective of things. And I really enjoy your Instagram page. If you guys, I'll put all the stuff in the description of this episode. So if you guys want to follow these two, you definitely can. But the last thing I want to ask you guys before we get into some NFL talk from this weekend is, what is your favorite thing about posting online? Like, what is your favorite thing of creating the content to put out so people can see it?
So we're still trying to figure out the content, right? I mean, that's kind of a work in progress for us. I'm still trying to hone in on the niche market, right? Like who we're really trying to. But at this point, again, it's really anybody that likes football and anybody that wants to feel like they're hanging out on a Sunday and they can just, come and talk to us and, not be quizzed on who was the safety back in 1979, right? Like just normal talk, hang out. But we still haven't really figured out the content piece. I feel like we're just reposting most of the time, right? Like, I post a lot of videos from the Chargers page. And I think we've created a couple memes, things like that. But Ashley, I mean, do you have anything to add?
So we are still like learning how to like create content, meaning from like a brand perspective.
Right.
Neither one of us has any experience in branding and marketing. So I think we're still figuring it out. I think what we enjoy though, or at least part of why we wanted to create this, is the engagement with other fans. I know I really enjoy it. And I think Nicole enjoys it when we get to engage and make connections, whether it's through Instagram or we do lives when we can on Tuesdays. And that's been really fun for us too, because, have people come and join us and talk about like what's going on has been great. So I think like the biggest joy is like the engagement with other football fans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. So speaking of football, let's talk some football today. And I'm very excited to talk with both of you guys. And there's been an array of things. I feel like this season started out like so strong, and now we're kind of on a bit of a lull. Not too much going on, nothing really exciting, but there was a few things that happened this past weekend that are we're coming towards the middle of the season. Things are starting to open up about the playoff picture and things like that. So I want to start with the Chiefs, because the Chiefs looked absolutely terrible yesterday. And they were going up against the Titans, which is not a bad team, but we've also seen the Titans struggling a bit this year. Patrick Mahomes is just not looking good, not just in this game, but all season. And Nicole, I will start with you. What are your feelings on the Chiefs this year? What do you think is going on with this team, and why does it seem like they're not the same Chiefs as before?
There's so much hype around the Chiefs, the last couple of years, making it to the Super Bowl. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is looked at as this all-star, right? And I can't stand him, honestly. He just, there's something about him that just drives me crazy. Well, it's kind of like the Tom Brady.
He is your rival, so that makes sense.
He is our, for sure. But I like when we beat the Chiefs, I was surprised. I didn't expect that. When we did our predictions earlier, right before the season started, I think I had it that they were going to win, but they're crumbling. They're falling apart. I don't know what happened yesterday. I mean, that was insane, but I did find a statistic that this is the first time that they've been held without a touchdown since 2017, and that was against the Giants.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that flatters me. As a Giants
I thought
fan.
you might like that one.
That's insane to think about. And like, this past few years, everybody has just been putting the Chiefs on this pedestal. And I remember earlier on this year before the season started, and when I did like, division videos, and people asked me who you think is going to win this division. Well, we know it's the Chiefs, but who's going to come in second? And that was the thing with everybody. And of course, I picked the Chargers. I said the Chargers are going to be great this year. Chargers are getting a wild card spot, but I don't see the Chiefs winning this division this year, which is like crazy to think about. Ashley, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's tough. There's so many things we could think about. I think Mahomes is coming off injuries still. You think about what was it, turf toe that he had and some concussion protocols. There's also that idea of like, they've gone to the Super Bowl twice, which means they have the longest season out of a lot of teams and the shortest preseason. And so what does that mean? They started to rebuild their O-line last year completely. So if you go back to the O-line that they had going into the Super Bowl with who they're trying to, or who they have currently. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's like Andy Reid and Mahomes got like really lucky. They had this really great team for 2 years and they just can't maintain it. I know that Kelsey's been injured this year. Tyreek Hill has been injured. And so I know there's a lot of injuries, but it does feel like something's off. Like they're just not clicking. So I don't know if that's like a coach thing or a leadership thing. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but it kind of makes me like reminiscent of like where I feel like the 49ers are at right now. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you that the Chiefs being 3-4 with a team that's supposed to be so good gives me a little hope for the 49ers. Like, I mean, I'll keep watching them lose. I'm still salty and will always be salty about losing the Super Bowl to them. So
Right. Yeah. That honestly, people say that was like a boring Super Bowl. I thoroughly enjoyed that Super Bowl. I think it was one of the more entertaining ones, especially what we've had in the past few years. Super Bowls have just been so boring.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's crazy too? I was looking up stats and Mahomes has 9 interceptions
this year
so far. Yeah. And he had 6 all last year. So like, that's crazy, right? It's like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. And in this game, he had 1 interception, 2 fumbles, and one of them was a lost fumble. So, and he even came out and said, like, it was probably me that lost this game, not counting the fact that he had that horrible concussion, which was like, I could feel it through the screen. It was terrible. And he messed up his knee a while back as well. And people will say, you know, comparing to Tom Brady, it's kind of hard at this point in time because also Tom Brady never had this many injuries this early on. I mean, Super Bowls, yes, you know, like this is not taking away from Patrick Mahomes at all, that he's a fantastic player, but the comparison is not there for me yet. It is way too early.
Yeah. I also think coming off a Super Bowl loss, if you think about it, people always have these high expectations for the teams that made it to the Super Bowl, but they lost. And I don't know, I should have looked it up, but it would have been a fun stat to see how many teams besides the Patriots keep going back to Super Bowls and winning like that. But
right.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like that bounce back just mentally of like, we lost and there's all this pressure to try and perform again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's rough.
So many people predicted. Yeah. So many people predicted the Buccaneers in Kansas City again. You know, right. I heard someone say that it's going to be Kansas City and the Bucs for like the next 4 years, right? I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
No. I would say for the NFC, I think the Buccaneers definitely make a run for it every year. I don't know if they're going to make it every single year, but the AFC is wide open. There are so many teams, and I am a wagon Buffalo Bills fan. I want to see the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl like nobody's. I mean, the Giants, yes, but let's be real, like it's not happening anytime soon. So I am going with the other red, white, and blue New York team that actually brings me joy. But yeah, AFC is wide open. I really think so. The Chiefs don't have what they did before. And next week they play the Giants on Monday Night Football. I mean, do you think that the Giants actually stand a chance? I mean, they played pretty horribly yesterday.
So I do think they have a chance. You know, the only teams that the Chiefs have beat have been like those teams that like they should beat, right? But it hasn't been by a lot. It's been like in overtime or like these tough games. And so I don't think that the Chiefs are going to have as easy of a time as they think they're going to have playing the Giants on Monday.
I want to see the Giants hold them to not getting a touchdown in 2017.
That would be great. I would really love to see that. And like, honestly, I mean, the Titans did it, and the Giants, I mean, people put down the Giants a lot, but we have a really great defense. So it's possible.
It's possible. It's possible.
We'll hold on to the hope.
Yeah. Here's what Nicole and I were talking about earlier this morning is like, everything you thought was going to happen this year for football, like every team you thought was going to be great, it's just everything's wild this year.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, like nothing is expected. Like who you think is going to win might lose. Who you think is going to lose is doing fantastic. Like who would have thought the Cowboys would be doing as well as they are right now?
Not me.
Yep.
Not me. I was not expecting that. I was real struggling with the fact that the Cowboys are as good as they are.
I know.
It pains me. But besides the fact,
Sam, you watched Hard Knocks though, right?
I did.
Did it make you like them anymore after watching that?
I do like Dak Prescott, like a lot. And if he wasn't on the Cowboys, I would probably be rooting for a team that he was on. I really like Trayvon Diggs. Like he is an incredible player. I mean, I fell in love with him too because of his son on Hard Knocks.
His son, yeah.
Absolutely adorable. I loved it. But yeah, I mean, like you kind of get a feel for the team that you've been hating your whole life, and then you see a kind of a human side to them. So I hate like saying I hate them. I mean, I kind of still do, but there's definitely more of like that human aspect to them because they're still people,
They're still people. I know. And his son was so cute, but we have a close friend who's diehard Dallas fan. And I've never paid attention to Dallas. I never cared for them. I just, they're America's team and whatever else. Wanted nothing to do with Dallas. Watched Hard Knocks, started liking them. Like even reached out to my friend. I was like, oh my gosh, like I love the relationship between Dak and Zeke, and they're so cute together. And then we played them our first game at home, and I'm done. I'm done with Dallas. I'm done with the fans. Like they were worse than the Raiders fans. I'm like, what is so a guy next to me, he gets a shirt that's like thrown to you, right? So he gets he's a Dallas fan. Obviously you don't want a Charger shirt. So I'm like, hey, like, I'll take that if you don't want it. He looks over at me and then he throws it back on the field. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
Dallas as a team is not bad. Dallas fan base, the worst. Almost as bad as Eagles fans.
Oh man.
Are Eagles fans bad too?
With the exception of one friend that I have. She's like one of my closest friends. She's an Eagles fan and we coexist. They are horrid. Like I know my dad has a story from back in the day where he was next to a small child wearing a Giants uniform, and the people, like Eagles fans, were screaming at this small child, like for having a Giants jersey on. Yeah, they get pretty rough. I don't think Lincoln Financial doesn't have it, but the old stadium used to have a jail cell in the stadium because they would like wild out so much. It's crazy. So they're crazy. Dallas fans are just obnoxious. Like they're really just, and they're all over the place because it's America's team. So everyone's like, Dallas, I'll go for Dallas. They have money and they're pretty and all that stuff. So yeah, the NFC East
have a lot of money.
Yeah, NFC East is a hard place to be. But regardless of that, let's talk a little bit about that Giants Panthers game because I want to talk about Sam Darnold. And first of all, Giants won. Really stoked. I had no idea. I did not think it was going to happen. But they held them out. They only put 3 points on the board. Sam Darnold was benched, and that was what was surprising to me. And Ashley, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on PJ Walker coming in, Sam Darnold getting benched, and the future for the quarterback position in Carolina?
I don't even know. I know that I believe the coach said they benched him because of the interceptions, which is crazy to me because he actually has less interceptions than Patrick Mahomes this year. Just want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
I didn't catch the game on Sunday, the Panthers Giants game, and I'm not as connected to like the Panthers, but Sam Darnold hasn't had a great career, I don't believe, right?
No.
And so maybe it's time. I feel like this is going to be the year for maybe that team and a lot of teams that we start to see just newer quarterbacks taking over just because there's a few that just aren't doing really well. So
yeah. I think a lot of people expected that it was the Jets were the reason Sam Darnold was so bad. And it started out pretty good for Sam Darnold, and now it's just kind of back.
Well, it's kind of like how everybody thought the Eagles were what was holding Carson Wentz back, right? But he showed us on Sunday.
Yeah, not great. Nicole, what do you think about Sam Darnold getting benched?
Well, Sam Darnold. So I live in the same town that he grew up. And so the elementary school that my kids go to, he went to. The high school that my stepson goes to, that's where he graduated from. So Sam Darnold is a hero in San Clemente. And I was talking to a waitress who's really good friends with his mom or something, and how this year was supposed to be his year and this, that, and the other. And just, I don't think he's that great of a player. I don't know if he's got it in him.
No, I'm really not. Like, I would say earlier this season, I would say, wow, like he's doing fairly well. But as we've seen this continue on, I'm not really seeing it. Maybe he can eventually get better. But as of right now, I mean, it's not looking good. And their backup really is not that much better than him. So Carolina had a great start with 3-0, but I don't see them doing much better throughout this season.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
They're going this way.
Yeah, it's definitely on the decline. I mean, I have Darnold here. He completed 9 out of 18 passes for 52 yards, and he played most of the game. He didn't get pulled out in like the second half. He got pulled out in the fourth quarter. So it was obvious that really is not too great. And in the last 4 games, he's had 7 interceptions. So it could have been better for Carolina, but it just seems like they're not developing him the same way the Jets couldn't.
Yeah.
It's probably just Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Like the problems followed him. So there's one common factor right there.
And I know Carolina is also in the mix with trading for Deshaun Watson, which is a crazy storyline for me. I don't know why anyone would want him, but I know Miami's in the mix, and now Carolina apparently is.
I saw something right before this call that maybe the 49ers are. And I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me.
Really?
Oh,
Like,
no.
That's already been a rumor like a million freaking times. I just can't see it. But yeah, I can't see him playing. But what do you guys think? Are we going to see Deshaun Watson back?
I really hope not. I hope not. And I really, I got into a Twitter argument recently about this with somebody that I don't know who they are, but they decided to start something with me on a day that I was not having it. So they basically, I was like, how could you allow, first of all, we're talking, if John Gruden, the stuff just happened with John Gruden, he didn't physically hurt anybody. I mean, obviously what he said was really horrible, and good that he's not the coach anymore. But also, like, Deshaun Watson has 22 sexual assault allegations against him, and he might play a snap in the NFL compared to emails that said hateful things. Like, I don't see the weight here, like, leveling out. That's what's crazy to me.
Yeah, agreed. And the fact that he has that no trade clause, so he has a say too, right?
Yeah.
I think I had also heard he's on a paid leave right now with the Texans. And so if he does get traded is when the NFL will actually have to step in and make a decision versus the team he's on. So it'll really speak volumes for how the NFL handles this if he does get traded to one of those teams.
Unfortunately, I don't think he should play. I don't think he should be allowed to play, but the NFL is a business. And I don't see him not playing.
Yeah. That's what's so horrible about this. I mean, yes, I will not take away the fact that he is a great football player, but you should not be playing a snap, not this year, not while things are happening in court somewhere. Like, I don't know, maybe if he gets traded, maybe then he ends up on the commissioner exempt list, which, I don't know how it would work though, especially if the case is still happening. Like, we don't know for a fact that he's guilty. So it's tough. It's very, it's not black and white. It's very cloudy and gray. So I don't know what's going to happen, but personally, I don't want to see Deshaun Watson on the field, not for any team.
No.
But that's just me. But in Carolina, either way, quarterback situation, not looking too hot. And again, bad loss, especially to the Giants. Again, I'm very glad it happened. Was not expecting it. So that's just very telling of the Carolina Panthers. And I want to talk about the AFC North because the Bengals and the Ravens played each other yesterday, and the Bengals looked phenomenal. And I personally have the Browns winning this division. And to be fair, everybody is within a game or two of each other. Even the Steelers are still 3-3, which is not completely out of the mix. But Nicole, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts on the Bengals and Ravens game, and where do you think this division is heading towards?
So that game was difficult for me just because we had just lost to the Ravens the week before.
Right.
I feel that the Ravens played the same game that they played last week as they did this week, but I agree. The Bengals looked solid. I mean, they looked like a strong team, and I don't think they're out. I with you though. I thought the Browns were going to take this division. But I think this is another one that it's all up in the air. I mean, anybody at this point could be the division winner for sure. I don't think Big Ben has much left in him. I don't really see the Steelers in there, but the Browns can still take it. The Bengals can hold on to it, but I think he'll get his groove back.
For sure. Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, it's crazy because I think right now the Ravens have the most injuries in the NFL, yet they're still 5-2, right? And so that speaks volumes for the team and the coaching, what's happening there. I can't remember who I projected to win the AFC North. I'm pretty sure it was the Ravens, but the Bengals, they looked good. And what's his name? Chase. I just saw all those fantasy points going up, dude. Like that rookie's out there just killing it. But it feels like that division is starting to like get stacked up. I agree that the Steelers will probably end last in that division and not make it too far. But it feels like there's some heavy competition. Even the Browns still doing well while Baker Mayfield's out. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out the rest of the year.
Yeah, the Browns getting that win on Thursday night they were playing the Broncos, to be fair, but still a win without Baker Mayfield, without a lot of your, starters, and your running game was basically dead. No Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt. So it just proved that they are still a good team. I'm in love with Baker Mayfield, so I hope that he comes back sooner than later. But yeah, I agree. The Bengals I wrote off because I was very upset when they drafted Jamar Chase. I wanted them to draft offensive line because I was afraid that Joe Burrow was going to get hurt again. And their offensive line really is still not great, but Jamar Chase is something so special. And him and Joe Burrow know each other from college at LSU. So they already have that chemistry. They already have that groove in there. I think so many people wrote off the Bengals because for so many years we just haven't been paying attention to them, basically. They are here to play.
Oh, I agree. We played them this year, and in my mind, I thought that would be an easy win. But what this season has taught me is that nothing's going to be easy at all. So, but I agree. Like the Bengals are they're a young team, but they're growing and they're finding how they work well together, and it's starting to show. And it's exciting to see all those young players start to emerge.
There's so many teams that are in the rebuild stage right now, and the Bengals, even when we talked about our predictions for the season, as soon as the Bengals came up, we're like, oh, that's an easy win. Nothing to even talk about. We got that, no problem. But I don't think so. And to Ashley's point, I feel like every prediction we've had has been way wrong. And everyone we thought was going to kill it this year is not so much. This season is just wild. Ravens beating the Chargers, who were first in the division, and then losing to the Bengals, and the Chiefs going down. I thought they would be doing at this point.
Absolutely. It's a crazy thought that I've literally my entire life I don't think the Bengals had ever been good, like ever, and they've had Andy Dalton most of my life, at least. I don't know how long Andy Dalton's been in the league, but it's a good amount of time. So Bengals have always been back burner. Like I never even thought about it. My brother's a Steelers fan, so I've always kind of paid attention to that division. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's becoming one of the more competitive divisions, which I was not expecting. So I'm interested to see what ends up going on there. The next game that I wanted to discuss with you, which I thought was going to be a little bit more interesting, but really wasn't, but it was a revenge game. Lions, Rams, two quarterbacks who have basically been quarterback swapped. I personally wanted to see Jared Goff and the Lions like defeat the Rams. Like I wanted to see that happen for him, just to say like, like a toxic ex just coming out and he'd be like, I'm doing good without you. Like I know that we're really bad, but I'm gonna beat you guys. And they almost did. I mean, it was a good game, but I mean, the Rams came out on top anyway, which I think everyone was expecting. But what did you guys think about this game? Ashley, I'll start with you.
I went in it with the same thoughts. I really wanted Jared Goff to not only get their first win of the season, because it's got to be pretty tough entering into week 7, 0-6, but just for that same, like in your face, like I'm not as bad. Also, I took you guys to the Super Bowl once before, so I could do this. I don't think that they looked bad. The game was closer than I thought. What was it? 1928.
Yes, correct.
And so I think the game was closer than I thought it was going to be. Like it wasn't a complete blowout. But there's freaking Stafford, man.
I know.
And like, I really wanted the Rams to lose too, because they're in my division. So like, I really wanted them to, I had double whammy wanting them to lose.
Right.
But it felt like the Rams kind of found their groove towards like the second half of the game.
For sure. They definitely did. And Nicole, what about you?
I wanted so badly Goff to get that win. I mean, I can't even imagine having to go back on that field with my old team, being defended by probably a lot of my friends. And the whole stadium is not rooting for me. It's my old team. And I heard that the last time Sean McVay and Jared Goff spoke was when he called Goff to let him know that he was going to be traded, and apparently he hung up on him. So there's obviously some beef there, right? But it was heartbreaking for me to watch that. I can't even imagine all the emotions that we're going through for all the players, Stafford as well. I mean, he was dealing with the same thing with his defense. But I'll tell you what, Stafford, he's always had the potential, but now that he's on the Rams and he's got the team to support and back him, I think that he will do very, very well.
For sure.
Man. 0-7.
I feel so bad for them. They have been so close almost every single week. I think they've lost by a field goal in like the last couple seconds of the game, like 3 or 4 times.
They almost beat us in week 1 in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Yeah.
That game was so good too. I remember watching that and I was like, wait a second. What's happening?
We were like way up, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. Why is the score getting closer?
Yeah, I know. It was that was crazy. So I think that there's something there.
Yeah.
And their record doesn't show it, because there's so many moving pieces. New quarterback, new coach, new organization. There's a lot of moving pieces. And for them to be doing as good as they are, I think that there's good things coming for the Lions. I hope so. I really do feel bad for them.
Yeah,
I agree. They haven't had anything good happen in so long.
I know. It was like the last thing was like, Calvin Johnson, Megatron. And even then he didn't even bring them to a Super Bowl or anything like that. So I do feel bad for them. But I know that in terms of Goff and McVay, they hadn't spoken to each other since he got traded. And while the Lions obviously were in LA, Goff went to a restaurant and McVay was also there. And they ran into each other and it was very awkward. And then they ended up kind of like catching up. And apparently now they're very cordial with one another. Okay. But I could only imagine how awkward that would be.
Gosh. Yeah. No, that would not be a fun dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of all places, I think it was like his favorite LA restaurant too. Like Jared Goff was like, I'm back in town. I'm gonna get some good food that I love. Oh, there's my ex-coach. Oh my God, like what do I do?
And like,
playing them on Sunday.
What are the odds?
There's so many restaurants in LA.
I know.
I was just gonna say, there's so many restaurants in LA. Like
they must have the similar tastes. Maybe it was where they used to go together. Who knows? Either way, very, again, I wanted this game to be a little bit more interesting. I mean, it was, but 0-7 Lions, not too great. Actually, the next thing I want to talk about is something I've been very excited to ask you guys, and it has to do with the Buccaneers-Bears game. So, game itself, horrible, not good. Don't even want to bother talking about it. What I want to talk to you guys about is Tom Brady threw his 600th touchdown ball and to Mike Evans, and it was gorgeous, beautiful. Everyone's celebrating. Mike Evans gives the ball to a fan in the stands. Everybody's like, oh my God, Mike, what have you done? What's happening? They go over, they ask the guy to give it back. Apparently some back and forths happened. The guy, I believe, got like a jersey, another football, maybe some merchandise or like store credit to get merchandise.
Got $1,000 of store credit.
Yeah, that's I mean, which is not bad, but for Tom Brady's 600th Super Bowl, like Super Bowl, touchdown ball, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady got 600 Super Bowls though. Exactly. So I want to ask both of you guys, if that were you and you were in that situation, you got this priceless ball. And Nicole, I'll start with you. What would you ask for if the staff member came up to you and was like, we'll give you anything you want? What would you have asked for?
Nothing.
Nothing.
If it wasn't if it was the Chargers, I would want to meet Justin Herbert. I'd be like, okay, that's fine, but I want to come down on the field and I want to meet him after the game.
Yeah, me too.
That's it. Nothing monetary. But I don't know. I feel like I understand the importance of that. I wouldn't have any gripes with giving it back.
Right. That's very noble of you. I feel like I'm not as good of a person as you. Ashley, what would you do?
It's funny because I would probably also give it back because I understand the sentimental value of the ball. Super cool souvenir for me.
Right.
But God, what a monumental thing for Tom Brady. Right. And so to me, it's a material thing. And so I'm like, that's fine. Again, maybe if it was the 49ers, there'd be something in it for me. But I think that I'd probably just give it back. They'd probably even offer me stuff and I'd be like, it's okay. I'd totally be trying to, it's all right. I swear, I promise you could just have it back. I don't even need that.
I feel like I would not keep it. I would make sure I gave it back, but I would probably ask for something in return. And honestly, if it was a Chargers ball, I'm not even really that just recent Chargers fan for the most part. I'd be like, yeah, Justin Herbert, bring him right here. I need to see the man.
I would ask for a date, maybe with Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's what I was okay. Say for you.
That is fair. That is very fair. I was just talking to my brother last night and I was just like, listen, I don't there are guys in this league that I am absolutely adore. Jimmy Garoppolo is not someone that I have a huge crush on, but I'm like, God, that man is so handsome. It is insane how handsome he is.
It really is.
Loud. But yeah. If it was me, I would definitely say I would at least ask. I'd say I need tickets for the rest of the year.
Oh, that's a good one.
That would be my thing. I'd say I just want to go to the games for free for the rest of the year, and just home games, not even away games. That would be my thing. But I know Tony Romo was calling that game, and he was just ask for $1 million, ask for a date with Giselle Bundchen, all this stuff. And I was like. He was wilding out a little, I think, Tony Romo, but it's basically a priceless thing that you're holding in your hands. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the picture of Mike Evans absolutely freaking out on the sidelines.
Yeah.
He was
he gave a ball earlier in the game too to a woman wearing his jersey. It was really cute. There was a few Buccaneers fans all standing right here. And there was one lady specifically he was trying to give the ball to because she was wearing his jersey. So he's pointing at her and telling the other, he's like, no, it's for her. But yeah, that's gotta be rough to have to go back and ask for it back. But I think he's happy.
Oh, I'm sure he is. And I'm sure Mike Evans too, like he was just doing the right thing, you know. A ball to a fan is like a very nice gesture, but I guess he didn't realize it was the ball that needed to get back to Tom there.
Yeah.
But overall in terms of this game, I mean, Bears are bad. Bears are bad.
Yeah. But they say Justin Fields has like the worst QB rating right now, like the entire NFL, I think I saw.
Does he?
Mm-hmm.
That's so sad.
Did you see the picture of him like slumped and like just like big old puppy eyes? Yeah.
Yes. God, you just feel for them rookies, right? Like there's a learning curve, obviously, but oh gosh, my like mom heart breaks. So I'm like, oh, it'll be okay, guys.
You bounce back. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel that too. I don't even have children, but I just want to be like, just can I just like hold him? Just be like, it's gonna be okay. Because I mean, yeah, it's not easy being in the NFL in your first year. I mean, some guys, you know, make it look amazing, and you're just like, this is easy, but it's not easy. It's really not easy, especially going up against the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's not gonna be easy.
No.
But yeah, overall, that game really, I don't have much to say about that. But since we are now going to go more into each of your teams, Nicole, I'll start with you because the Chargers were on a bye, and obviously coming off a pretty rough loss from last week. Where do you think the Chargers are going within this? You know, even though there was a bad game last week, I feel like the Chargers are still a good team. So where are you standing right now?
So I think that we are entering the easier part of the season. I mean, every game that we've played has been against a solid team, right? So not to say that the teams were playing games, but I think that we really played the hardest games that we're going to play this season, except for Sunday. So when Ashley and I were talking about our predictions, I thought that we would beat the Pats, no problem. I don't know about that after seeing, you know, how they've been playing. I still think that we're a better team, but there's something with the Patriots and the Chargers. I mean, we lost to the Patriots 45-0 last year. The time before that, we lost to them in the playoffs for the Super Bowl. So I think it's a revenge game for us. So I still think that we're going to take it. But, you know, I still have faith, and I still do believe that we're the best team in the division and we can absolutely win the division. But we're not out of the woods, right? There's still a lot of games to play. And like we've been saying, you know, this whole time, every team is surprising us this year. Like the ones that we thought were going to be great, or the ones that we thought were going to be dismal. It's just, I think we're going to win.
Yeah. To be fair, I think the Patriots this week had a game that they were able to ball out the way they did, because one, it was divisional. Two, the Dolphins obviously are in a bit of a lower part of their season. So they were able to put a lot of points on the board. And I'm not writing Mac Jones off. I think Mac Jones is slowly getting better and better every week, which I hate because I don't like him. Don't know why, just absolutely don't dislike him. But I think that the Chargers do stand a chance against the Patriots, especially coming off of a bye week and a week that they lost that bad. Like, they're going to want to come back and make sure they are going to win this game. So I would say that the Chargers are going to win. And I'm not being biased. I think that they definitely will be. And I'll be wearing, my brother bought me a shirt that says "The future is Herbert." And I love it. It is like one of my favorite t-shirts. And I believe every sentiment of it. He is the future. He is so wonderful and so fantastic. But yeah, so the Chargers upcoming week, I would say, especially with the rest week, they're going to come back, you know, strong, hard, just eager to win this game. In terms of the 49ers, which they played on Sunday Night Football last night, and Ashley, I've been very excited to talk to you about this game. From my point of view, Sunday night games are always like a hit or a miss for me. I could not watch this game. It was
I almost turned it off.
It was kind of hard to watch. It was not good. So obviously they lost, unfortunately, to the Colts, who I don't like Carson Wentz. I never did for obvious reasons. But the 49ers, I mean, Jimmy G came back in this game, and I think everybody kind of was like hyping it up, and then they fell short in this game. So what do you think happened here?
So it's so hard. I don't disagree. I'm pretty sure I texted Nicole last night and said, dude, I'm turning the game off. Like it was really hard to watch last night because we had such high expectations. We had 3 losses and then a bye week heading into this. You would think we would come back better and ready to play. I think what we started to see all season though, is it feels like to me, and again, not an expert, that the 49ers don't have an offensive identity. And I think it comes down to like the 2 quarterback system that they're working right now. Jimmy G and Trey Lance, completely different quarterbacks, which means the O-line has to operate 100% differently, depending on which quarterback is in there. Right. And so I just don't feel like they've found their groove. The reality is we have lost every game due to penalties. We have given up, I think, let me see, last night there was 4 turnovers that resulted in 20 of the 30 points that the Colts got. We went into the game second in defensive pass interference. We ended the game leading the NFL in defensive pass interference. And so our secondary is not doing really well. It just doesn't seem like they're clicking. And so part of me feels like maybe it's like a coaching thing, or lack of leadership. It just doesn't feel like the team's cohesive this year. And again, my gut goes, it's probably the quarterback thing. You got to think Jimmy G knows he's not going to be with the 49ers after next year.
Right.
It doesn't seem like anybody wants to pick up Jimmy G, unfortunately. And I'm a big Jimmy supporter. Like everybody knows, I think when he's on the field, he's good. But at some point mentally, if you know you're not going to be the quarterback, even though you want to keep trying, does that impact your ability to lead the locker room? And does the rest of the team start to feel that? And then if we keep losing, is it time to just put in Trey Lance? And if we lose some more, we lose some more. But the worst that's going to come out of it is he's going to get experience to take us into 2022, where he's going to be the future quarterback. But I think, let me see, I was just looking at my notes. Yeah. So there was all those turnovers, 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions. We had 3 dropped interceptions that we could have caught and won the game. Oh my God. They couldn't hold on to the ball. We couldn't, there was a missed fumble, missed field goal. It was just, it's tough. And I think there's a lot of high hopes for the 49ers, or there was, right? This is Shanahan's 5th year coaching. This is his 4th losing year. He's had 1 good year, and they re-signed him and Lynch to a 6-year contract. So it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of this season. Obviously I thought we would win last night.
I thought you were too. I had picked you guys to win.
Too.
I did not expect the Colts to win that game. And honestly, I don't think the Colts won. I really think the 49ers made a lot of mistakes, and that's what led to them winning.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Like I said, I think that's every game we've lost has been by essentially 1 touchdown, right? And you think of all the penalties that we get. Just
right.
Something's off. And I don't think the rest of our schedule is super easy either. We still have to play the Rams twice. We have to play the Cardinals again, right? I don't know how I feel. I mean, we got to play the Seahawks back, I think, right when Russell Wilson gets back.
Oh, man. You play I will say, the NFC West is the hardest division in the NFL. The hardest.
I don't disagree. And I think that we're normally a competitor, but something has to change. Something has to happen. Because if you look at our players, we have really good team. There are some really great players. And so
you guys also have injuries.
We have a ton of injuries. Well, I didn't even know until the game started that Trent Williams wasn't playing. And then I was like, well, that's not going to help us, Yeah,
I mean, and your star tight end being out as well, George Kittle not playing. So let me ask you this. I know that there's a lot of quarterback decisions, and their quarterback situation reminds me a lot of Chicago, when they were jumping between Dalton and Fields, same thing. And I like the way that you put it, that their offensive line was shifting back and forth to these 2 different quarterbacks. And it's You can't do that. It's just going to lead to losing games. So I know Kyle Shanahan has no idea what's going to happen next week in terms of quarterbacks. If they remove Jimmy G and they put Trey Lance in, how are you going to feel as a fan?
It's tough because, again, I'm so supportive of Jimmy, but ultimately I want us to win. And right now I cannot confidently say that we're going to win with Jimmy or Trey. We're not winning. Jimmy's lost the last few games. I think Trey put up a fight that game.
But the Cardinals are good.
Yeah, and you know what? We held them to the least amount of points they've scored all year. We do have a good defense. Our defense, I think, ranks 10th in the NFL, and so it's our offense that sucks. And I think I would be bummed, and I think it would be interesting because my thoughts are Jimmy's not a bad quarterback. He's good when he's good.
Right.
Trey Lance is an amazing backup if something happens to Jimmy. If we start Trey Lance, well, what does that mean for Jimmy? Is he going to be on the bench? Do they trade him before the trade deadline? Then our backup's Nate Sudfeld. I don't know that Nate Sudfeld's a great backup. I feel confident having Jimmy and Trey there. But Shanahan's got to figure out that play calling. I was also telling Nicole, it would be interesting though, because we play the Bears on Sunday.
Right.
And Trey Lance versus Justin Fields would make for some good headlines.
That would be really, the media would be all over that.
Totally. And so I'm Shanahan hasn't announced that Jimmy's going to be the starter, but he hasn't said he's not. And we don't know if Trey's knee is better, but I was I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Lance starts. I got to believe that Shanahan's starting to feel some pressure right now.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
4 losses is what I predicted us to take all season. And we're only in week 7.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're all done. Maybe you guys got it all out of the way, and now you guys are just going to win every single game.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
They'll beat the Rams twice, no problem.
So the reason I said I did predict us to beat the Rams twice because we have the last 2 years, but they have Stafford now this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last night was really frustrating. And as a fan, I was bummed, but I had to remind myself last night. I don't know if you guys ever do this. I was so frustrated and so bummed. And I was but Ashley, you're a fan. And I know that football's here for your entertainment, but God, imagine what the players and the coaches feel like. There is no way that they feel, or that I feel more frustrated than they do. And I just had to put that into perspective because I think we could all get so passionate about wanting our teams to be the best. And, we were in hopes of a wild card spot. Maybe, I think we're a 12th seed right now, so we got to start winning games, but I don't know.
There's still a lot of football to be played.
It's true. There's
you need a new
11 more weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Because we have that extra game.
Yeah. So
anything can happen. The NFL is a magical place. It really is. 7-0 Cardinals, who, granted, I've been kind of on the Cardinals train a little bit. Mm-hmm. I expected them as the dark horse to kind of take that division. I'm sorry, Ashley, but I was mostly going against the Rams people though, because they were Rams to the Super Bowl, right? And Rams are good, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. All right. Let's chill out on the Rams. But no, the 49ers have like you said, they have what they need, which is very similar to the Giants. The Giants have what they need. A lot for us, at least, it has to do with front office and, managing the team and the play calling. So there's some things that need to be tweaked on our end. And I'm sure it's very similar to the 49ers because Jimmy G is not a bad quarterback. I think that he is good. He did go to the Super Bowl. You have to give him that. He did lose, but he went. And that's, he also sat behind Tom Brady. He learned a thing or two.
Yeah.
So again, anything can happen. The NFL.
Last year the Steelers were 11-0, and didn't they not make the playoffs?
They got a wild card spot, but they lost horribly to the Browns.
There we go. Yeah.
Horribly.
So I'm got my hopes up. Also, I think the Rams will take the NFC West.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They can take the NFC West, but they cannot go to the Super Bowl again. I cannot have the Rams another Super Bowl. So Sam, it's so hard. Like it's hard being a Chargers fan. It always has been, right? And our fan base, it's worse now since we moved to LA. Ashley was there with me at the Cowboys game, the first home game. And she also watched the other game that I was at when we played the Raiders, and the amount of booing when our team walks out on the field, she texts me, she's like, all I can hear is booing on TV. Like, that's it. As soon as the Chargers take the field, it's like the whole stadium shakes. It's so loud. And so when the Rams and the Chargers moved to LA at the same time, it was, there was already so many Rams fans because they were in LA before. And so the Chargers, coming from San Diego, lost half of their fan base in San Diego, moved to LA, and then the Rams go to the Super Bowl, and immediately they're the team of LA. So I do not want them to go back to the Super Bowl at all, just because of my selfishness with my team.
That's fair.
I mean, the Rams Chargers Super Bowl at their stadium.
I don't know if I want to play the Rams this year. It's a little.
That would be crazy.
I'm bold. I don't think that the Cardinals are going to the Super Bowl. I don't think so. I think that, oh my gosh, this is what I forgot to look up. Dang it, Sam. I knew I forgot to look something up to take notes, which is the games I'm excited about. But I know there's one I'm really excited about, and that is the Packers and the Cardinals, because I think the Cardinals are taking their first loss on Thursday.
Let's go into the last thing we're going to talk about, which is the predictions for this week, because that is one of my games as well, and I said the same thing, that the Packers will be handing the Cardinals their first loss on Thursday, which I think is going to be one of the better Thursday night games that we've had this season. They've been not the best matchups, but Ashley, why don't you go through your other two matchups that you were excited about?
So obviously I can't not say the 49ers because they are my team, and we're playing the Bears, and knock on some wood, dude, that like, hopefully we could get a win.
It's very possible. I would pick the 49ers over the Bears.
Yeah. And then I just don't know if I do too. I want to pick them, but like we said, I just feel like we never know what's going to happen with football right now. So I'm not going to put anything past the Bears. And then obviously, I look forward to the Chargers coming back off of their bye week and playing the Patriots as well. I think that'll be a good game. I think that the Patriots have started to find a groove. I think that Belichick is coaching them really well, and I think it's going to make for a really exciting game.
Absolutely.
I think back to the Patriots-Bucks game and how they held Tom Brady. So it'll be really fun to watch them.
I think the Patriots would have won that game, honestly, if it didn't. There was a few things that just happened that just went in the Buccaneers' way, but I definitely thought the Patriots. I thought the Bucks were going to win beforehand, but watching it, I was like, oh God,
yeah,
Buccaneers aren't going to win.
Same.
But Nicole, what are your three most excited games for next week?
Ashley, who's winning? Pats, Chargers.
I mean, I want the Chargers to win. I do want them to win. I think they'll win.
Want them to win.
I don't know, dude. The Patriots are looking really, really good right now, but you guys are coming off a bye. As long as your team doesn't do what the 49ers did, which is take a loss and a bye and come back and lose again, you guys are good if they come back more motivated.
I think we'll be good. So I'm with you, both of you, on the Green Bay Cardinals game. I'm very excited about that, and I always love me some prime time. So I think that Aaron Rodgers will be handing Kyler Murray his first loss on Thursday night. So I'm excited. And Chargers, Pats, for sure. We've talked about that one. I think the Chargers are going to win that one. And then I guess this week to me is not super exciting. I thought about maybe Washington and Broncos just because they're in our division, but I don't think that's going to be a great game, but I'm going to say the Chiefs and the Giants. I'm excited to see what the Giants can do and to see if the Chiefs are going to continue on this downhill slope that they're going, right? I think the Giants are going up and I think the Chiefs are going down. So I think it's going to make for a great game.
Well, that makes me happy to hear from an outsider point of view, because I am friends with many Giants fans, and everybody's like, yeah, we're beating the Chiefs next week. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I can't. I feel like it's definitely going to be a close game. I'm not sure whether or not we're going to win. But for my picks, like I said, Packers, Cardinals on Thursday night. I think that's going to be a great game. I'm also going Steelers, Browns, which is divisional. And if the Steelers hand the Browns a loss, that is going to be really telling because then they'll be tied and that division is going to get even closer. But I think that the Browns are better than the Steelers. So I'm going to go with the Browns, but it'll be an interesting game. Don't tell my brother that I picked the Browns because he'll chop my head off. And finally, I'm also going to go Bucs Saints, another division game, because the Saints, I feel like I haven't even watched a Saints game in like weeks, but they must have had a bye last week as well, or they were on.
They're playing tonight.
They're on tonight. Seahawks.
Which
yeah.
I want them to win. I need the Seahawks to continue to have a really bad record so the 49ers have a shot.
I mean, listen, I have experience with quarterback Geno Smith, and let me tell you, it's not happy memories. So it's definitely possible that the Saints end up winning this game. But yeah, Bucs Saints, mostly because last year, even though the Saints had Drew Brees, they beat the Bucs in once or twice. I can't remember, but they definitely beat them the first time. So that'll be telling for the division as well. But that is everything that we were going to talk about today. Ladies, I want to thank you guys so much. This was a great conversation, and I'm so happy that you guys were finally able to come on and do this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you again for having us. This was awesome conversation. So
Absolutely.
I think this is our first YouTube with a female.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm honored.
Interview. All the other ones have been guys.
Well, I'll be happy to
So it's nice.
I'll be happy to put you guys on my YouTube channel and on podcasting platforms. But before we go, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you guys on touchdowns and tight ends?
This is Nicole's specialty. I always mess it up.
So mostly active on Instagram, touchdowns _and_ tight ends. It's the same name for TikTok, and then YouTube, I believe, is just touchdowns and tight ends podcast. Is that right, Ashley? Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah. So mostly on Instagram. We do try to do one live a week on YouTube, just to interact with people. That's probably our favorite thing that we've done so far. And TikTok, we kind of fell off the wagon, but hopefully we'll get some done tomorrow.
I love TikTok. TikTok is so much fun. I love making
it's so fun.
videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a blast. But again, guys, thank you guys so much for coming on this week. And in terms of me, you guys know where to find me on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast and on Instagram and TikTok at The Girl Who Talks Sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And please subscribe on all podcasting platforms where you can find The Girl Who Talks Sports. I hope you all have a fun, fantastic sports-filled day, and I will see you guys all next week for NFL Week 8. Bye!
Bye.